The level of growth of any employee within the organization cannot exceed the level of growth that the leader has or where the leader is already at. So meaning to say, an employee under a certain leader cannot outgrow their leaders. So if you're wondering why a certain department or a certain organization is not growing that much, you have to look at the leaders that are at the helm of the organization.
Okay, next question. How does your leadership style contribute to personal development of your employees?
Huge. And again, it was John Maxwell who popularized this one. Everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah,
The level of growth of any employee within the organization cannot exceed the level of growth that the leader has or where the leader is already at. So meaning to say, an employee under a certain leader cannot outgrow their leaders. So if you're wondering why a certain department or a certain organization is not growing that much, you have to look at the leaders that are at the helm of the organization. So yes, not just a style, but the character of the leader is highly essential to the personal
yeah,
development of the employees.
that's right. And to add to that, I think people look at you as the leader. It's something that we don't really want to hear, but it's the truth. People will see you and look at you as their role model. If they can't
Agreed.
get along with you, they won't go along with you. Also, John Maxwell coined that term. If they can't get along with you, they won't go along with you as their leader.
That's right.
Another thing that I want to share with you is when it comes to leadership, if you're the CEO or the founder, your core values, mission, vision statement, and purpose statements usually come from the CEO and the founder. I wrote all of
Mm.
our core values. I wrote the purpose statements that we have, the purpose for the team, purpose for the clients, purpose for the community and the world. And I wrote our mission, vision statements as well. So my leadership extends to the entire organization. Like all six of our core values are principles of mine. And
Mhm.
they're
Mhm.
obviously not principles of people who come in.
Yep.
Maybe some people who come in would have one, two, or three of them, hopefully more, but that's it. And the other parts of it they don't have, but we aspire for them to have it, and they should aspire to have it,
Mhm.
or all
Mhm.
six of our core values. So it definitely, like, one of our core values is challenger, and
Mhm.
that is all about stretching yourself, going beyond the extra mile, and working hard for your clients, for your coworkers, for your leaders, and all of the stakeholders of any project. So that core value is because I practice that. I stretch myself every time, all the time. Right now, I'm challenging myself to get back into shape. I'm hirap. Okay, so I'm building
Mahirap,
my
mahirap,
body
mahirap.
again. Yeah, I'm building my body again. This year's been a very stressful year for me. And when I get stressed, I usually stress eat. So I gotta lose weight. At the same time, I'm building muscle right now. So, but stretching myself, that is something that I really do. I downloaded a new book today. I recorded a podcast with Mr. Len Herstein. That's a very good episode, and we talked about being complacent. His book is
Mhm.
Be Vigilant. It's in Amazon, so I can't buy the hard copy. I downloaded it on Kindle. It's all about being complacent in business and in
Mhm.
life. When does complacency kill you? So he's a successful businessman, and then he volunteered as a police officer, 7 years as a volunteer police officer without pay. Really good stuff. I love his story. But yeah, so definitely it stems from who you are as a leader. And your
Mhm.
people will see that, and they will be developed by your culture and organization from who you are. If they see that you're
Mhm.
a fake, they're not going to follow you. They're not going to grow themselves with you. And they're soon going to leave. Ito, medyo magandang tanong. Have you ever had to let go of an employee because they wouldn't grow? Can you let us know how that went?
No, I haven't. But I've let go of employees that have done stuff that has probably done or had integrity issues. That's one thing. I think that's a non-negotiable for on my end. However, because of the culture that we usually build, and even here in Zagana, that culture that we have and we've built, those employees who refuse to grow eventually look for another place to work for. It's just going to be inevitable. Ika nga. As a leader, if you have probably nurtured in an environment, a climate, I would usually say leaders are also climate changers. Eh. They are like thermostats. They're not thermometers. They dictate the climate of the organization in such a way that only those types of plants or people flourish and would want to stay inside. And that would help you eventually not have that kind of headache of moving out, or coaching out, or sinasabi nila, firing out employees that you think need, who doesn't want to grow with you. The culture itself would eventually root out, and it has done us, in many times, even in for this year, we've had those. We were able to build a culture here, in the other companies that I'm also consulting with. The culture eventually roots out the employees that are not fit for that. And again, by the way, it doesn't mean that one person who doesn't want to work for a certain organization because of the culture differences doesn't mean the person is bad or incompetent. Sometimes, in most cases, they're just not, made for that kind of an environment. A cactus cannot grow in a very watery place, right? They don't blossom there, but you put them in an arid or a desert place, they would have flowers as well. So we cannot say that the cactus is, is useless or not, in a very wet area, on a swampy area. Similarly, a water lily will die in an arid, desert area. Can't say that the lily is useless, or it can't, because it's not meant to be there. So I would say, no, I haven't. But I have fired and I've let go of individuals who have integrity issues, and who have done certain things that are, against company policies. Those who
Yeah.
doesn't want to grow within the culture, they leave by their own volition, and that's a beauty of culture.
Yeah, and I love I love the analogy with the desert plant and the water lily. It's exactly like that. And same in SEO Hackers' case, we've never fired an employee because they wouldn't grow. Often, when I know an employee doesn't want to grow, just wants to stay comfortable, I just park them in a role that they're good at and they're comfortable
Mhm.
in, right? So win-win kasi comfortable sila and kami, that's the kind of level that it will fit the bill. And for us, that's
Mhm.
okay. So we usually do it that way, but the problem comes if they want more money. That's where the
Salary.
problem
Yeah,
comes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot
So
have your cake and eat it too, sabi nga nila.
exactly. So usually if they want more money, that's where we got a problem. And we have to
Mm.
talk with them that, hey, we gave you this challenge before and you didn't want it, or you shrank away from it, or you did poorly, iniwan mo lang. No? So we
Mm.
gotta talk with them, and you gotta manage that tension. Remember the tension that Jeff and I were talking about earlier? You gotta manage that tension, and you gotta tell them, this is what happened. And if we give you more, it's not legal for us to detract that if you don't commit to more. Right? You're telling me you're committing to more now, but if I give you the raise and suddenly you become comfortable again, and you rewind back to where you were, lugi naman yung company. So, you got to manage that tension, and you have to use your own God given discernment for you to know what's going to be the right decision for you. Bibigyan mo ba o hindi? Does the character, the chemistry with the team, and the number of years of that person working alongside you matter to you that much for you to give it X number of raise or not, diba? So it's a case to case basis now, but usually that's where the problem stems from. Otherwise, exactly like in Jeff's case, they're gonna show themselves the door, and when that time comes, minsan nabunutan ka pa ng tinik kasi now you have a budget again to hire for someone new who might want to be challenged, who might want to grow out of their comfort zone. So it's not really a bad thing when you park them in place and they're happy there and they never ask for a raise again. That's not a bad thing. And it's also not a bad thing if they show themselves the door, and now you have the opportunity to get someone new who might want to grow
Mm.
alongside you and become an executive all the way, diba? So that's my take on
Mm.
this question.